Thank you.
Cardinal Wuerl, followed by Bishop Troutman.
Thank you, Your Eminence. And Dr. Cesario, thank you. Thank you for such a comprehensive presentation that has followed in the line of what you've been bringing to us so many times in the past. I'm thinking back to 2002 when we had that horrendous meeting because of the horrendous material we were dealing with. And I remember Pope, now St. John Paul II, saying this was a moment of purification. This was a time to begin a profound purification, and not just personal, but institutional. That intervention that more or less set the frame of reference for what we set out to do, I think has to be with us today. And I heard you say that. And yesterday, so many of the people who spoke to us of that spiritual purification in the life of the church. We heard earlier today an intervention that spoke about the role of the Spirit empowering us. One of the things that I just wanted to compliment your presentation on were your ability to weave in so many of the factors, each one of which requires a lot of attention, and it's not just an administrative procedure. You touched on transparency. And what does that mean as we move forward? Transparency on the level of a diocese, but transparency on the level of all of us working together. I think that's going to be a very significant factor. We've come a long way since 2002, but we still have some way to go. The idea of accountability and taking the responsibility personally, but also institutionally, for breakdowns, for failures. All of that is something that in your presentation, I think you wove very well into the context of a much larger picture. And that is this the synodality, the walking together. Yesterday was a visible example, a beautiful spiritual example of walking together. We had lay people, we had religious, we had priests, we had bishops, all of us addressing this. But I think one of the things that perhaps brought some cohesion, at least for me, in all those elements you touched on and what we heard yesterday as well, was the constant theme of our unity, that we are a communion, we're a church rooted in our faith, rooted in the Spirit, and somehow that community, that communion, that unity centered in Peter and flowing from the work of all of us, always with and never without, but also experiencing our own responsibility, seems to me to be a pathway forward, as you've pointed out. Thank you for taking all of those themes and weaving them together, weaving them in light of what we heard yesterday. I do think part of purification is what you suggested. Sometimes we simply have to take personal responsibility, and we simply have to say, this needs to be done. Institutionally, it's easier. Personally, it's where that purification has to be a part of the entire process. Thank you so very much for what you presented.
Thank you, Your Eminence.